She-Hulk Attorney at Law. So She-Hulk Attorney at Law follows Jennifer Walters, played by Tatiana Maslany, who is a lawyer specializing in cases involving superhumans, who also becomes the green superhero She-Hulk. And, you know, I before this show, I don't know who Tatiana Maslany is, and everyone's saying, "Oh, she's amazing, incredible in Orphan Black, Orphan Black." And can I be honest with you for 1 second? I haven't seen Orphan Black. I only saw the pilot episode, season one, episode one, the pilot episode of Orphan Black, just to get a taste of her acting capability. And I thought she was, I thought she did a really good job in that show. So yeah, and here I love Tatiana Maslany um, as Jennifer Walters She-Hulk. She is so, hilarious, and she is so funny. And also the show, when this show was developed, was in development, it was I think it was 2019. It was just called She-Hulk. But then they added a subtitle like a couple weeks before the show premiered on Disney Plus, Attorney at Law. And I thought it was a pretty fitting title for the character, because of she is, of course, a lawyer herself. So yeah, and they weren't messing around when it came to Attorney at Law, because this entire show, I heard the writers, said that this show feels like a legal comedy, and that is exactly what it feels like. It feels like it's very funny, um, and but this show does have its issues. Of course, you know, this may be the first show where I actually, oh my god, I don't want to say it, but I don't think there's any other way to say it. This is the first show that I actually hate. I know. I know. Like, okay, the first, and by the way, yes, there will be spoilers, so you have been warned. The first episode is her origin, and it was awesome seeing Mark Ruffalo back as Bruce Banner, and seeing him in his human form for just a little while before he goes back to his Smart Hulk form. We get to see her origin. You know, they were in a Jennifer and Bruce were in a car crash. They encountered a Sakaran spacecraft, and while Jennifer, her blood was cross contaminated with his blood, turning her into a Hulk. And then Bruce Banner basically teaches her how to control her anger and her powers. And she says some things that really, that could, potentially offend some people. I don't know why Marvel is doing this. I hate saying this word, woke. I hate saying that, but it's like, Jennifer is saying like all these words that, I don't know why. It's like, like, oh, I'm better because I'm better than you. I had a harder, uh, and of course, it's like I really wish, I really hope Marvel doesn't go there, but I feel like they're going there. Yeah, I feel like this. I feel like they're gonna push like some kind of political agenda. I don't want to get into it, but anyway, moving on to the second episode. Moving on to the second episode. Her first case is that she had to represent Emil Blonsky Abomination, which was so awesome to see Tim Roth back. Oh man, we haven't seen Tim Roth in such a long time. He, not including his little appearance, his appearance in Shang-Chi, but the last time we saw Abomination was the 2008 Hulk movie, and we haven't been caught up we don't know what he's been up to. So I guess like all these years, ever since the Incredible Hulk movie, he's been locked up in this prison. So yeah, or maybe they might have transferred him from one prison to another. Who knows? But yeah, it was great to see Abomination back. Unfortunately, I don't really like what they're doing with the character. And we'll get to that real second. So yeah, the third episode, we get to see Wong. We have another cameo, so the first episode, Hulk, the big, appearance was Hulk. The second episode was Abomination. The third is Wong. So this is the episode where this is the episode this is an episode that really turned off a lot of people, and people made fun of this show and made fun and She-Hulk became a meme. And that was the post credit. It wasn't the episode itself. It was great to see Wong, but it wasn't the episode itself. It was actually the post credit scene, which was She-Hulk and Megan Thee Stallion like fucking twerking. The visual effects team spent hours, minutes, maybe hours trying to CGI her twerking. What the hell were they thinking? I heard Tatiana Maslany is a huge fan of Megan Thee Stallion. Maybe she contacted her and made her like have a cameo appearance. This entire episode 3, revolves around Megan Thee Stallion. She is a main character. She's a main figure in this entire episode. It's just focusing on her, and there's like a light elf from New Asgard who can shapeshift who's been impersonating Megan Thee Stallion. What is going on? And then episode 4 is probably one of my favorite episodes. I didn't like the first episode. But I didn't like the first episode. But I loved the post-credit scene to the first episode. Jennifer talking about Captain America, Steve Rogers, like virginity, which was just hilarious to listen to. But episode 4 is one of my favorite episodes of this season, and that's not saying that much, by the way. That it really isn't. So episode 4 was just episode 4 was just the magician. It was the magician episode with Donnie Blaze, with a character named Donnie Blaze. Wong comes back again. And just the post-credit scene, Wong, and then fucking Madison. What does she say? 2 N's or 1 Y or 2 Y, 1 Y and 2 N's, but it's not what she think. Like, oh my god, she is a vibe. She is hilarious. The best character in this entire show is not even Daredevil. I actually prefer, even though I was excited to see Daredevil, I already know we all knew he was going to be in the show because the trailers revealed his appearance. Imagine what the show would have been like. I think people might have not watched the show much, but if Daredevil wasn't in it. But anyway, Madison, oh my god, if Madison was a real person, I want to like hang out with her because she is like the most fun and funniest character to be around. And then the post-credit scene with her and Wong sitting down and like, have you tried like gin and tonic, or what's your favorite like alcoholic beverage? Like, oh my god, I loved it. I would rather I'm so sorry, She-Hulk. I'm sorry, not sorry, but I would rather watch a TV show just for Madison and Wong. Just that's the name. That's the title of the show, Madison and Wong. And the subtitle, the catch, and then like the catchphrase or the subtitle, the slogan would be like one Y, two N's, but it's not what you think. Oh my god. I love Madison. Like this drunk, like drunk, like stereotype. It was just amazing. It was just amazing. I wasn't, and then the show ended with Titan. Walters. Jennifer Walters learns that Titania has been freed and is filing a lawsuit against her. Trademarking the name She-Hulk. By the way, speaking of Titania, I know Jamila Jamil's character. Her she first appeared at the end of the first episode. She violently burst through a wall while fleeing from her own. She burst through violently burst through a wall, and then Walters transforms into Titania. When Titania did that kick, it looked so staged and looked so stupid. Like when she did that karate kick or whatever the hell, like she looked like she was like, it was so obvious that Jamil, like the actress playing Titania, was on wires, was like hanging on wires when she did that stupid kick. When she did that stupid like flying kick towards, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Like when she did that stupid flying kick and then like She-Hulk punched her in the fucking stomach. It was so stupid. It looked so terrible. But anyway, episode 5 and 6 is probably my least two favorite. Is like the worst two episodes of this whole show. Episode 5 and episode 6. Episode 5 is just, there's no like action scenes. There's no action scenes. There's none of that. There's no action scenes. There's none of that. It's just, I guess you could say it's, instead of a physical battle, it's more of a legal battle. But yeah, it's just, I felt like the episode like went on so fast. Excuse me. The episode, episode 5, titled "Mean Green and Straight Poured into These Jeans." This entire episode went by so fast. I had a blank expression. I had a blank robotic expression on my face. Like when the episode ended, I was like, "That's it? Are you kidding me? That's it? Seriously?" I was shaking my head. Oh, by the way, we'll talk about the Wrecking... I didn't talk about the Wrecking Crew, but we'll talk about them later. Oh, God. Episode 6 is another... Episode 6 is another horrible episode. It's the wedding episode. We got another character, Mr. Immortal. And then, like... Madison Book... Madison Book and Nikki discover, like, this website called Intelligentsia. Intelligentsia is like is the big group of antagonists for this entire show. And we'll talk about them later too. And this entire episode is just a fucking wedding episode, and I was like, what am I watching? What is this show? And what does this show become? Like, I was just so disappointed with episode 6. This entire show, they could have cut out episode 5, episode 6. Episode 5 or episode 6. This whole show should have been like 6 or 7 episodes long. It should have been like 6 or 7 episodes long, max. Like 6 or 7. I'm not even joking. Maybe 7 episodes. Because, like, episode 5 and 6 I felt was pretty useless. The episode 6 was just a wedding episode. I did like, the opening titles, instead of saying She-Hulk Attorney at Law, it just says just Jen, which was very funny. And the same thing happened with when she got her when she got her name trademarked. But it's like, what am I watching? If we watch this entire show in the future, and I don't think I ever will, I'm gonna skip episode 5 and 6 and just go straight to episode 7, because like those two episodes, I are just like, what is this? What is this? Episode 7 is titled "The Retreat." Uh, you know, Jennifer Walters, goes on several dates with this guy, and then, but then he disappears, and then he seemingly ghosts her after they slept together. And this entire episode had a couple like cameo appearances from a lot of like C or D list like Marvel characters that only true comic fans would know. Everyone else would be like, huh, what? But I do know who Manbull is. I've heard of Porcupine. I obviously know who the Wrecker is. The other ones I haven't. This is my first time hearing about them. But yeah, it's basically this entire episode 7 was basically a huge lesson, telling a huge lesson to Jennifer Walters. You got to stop, being hanged on. You got to stop, being distracted with this phone call. It's a group therapy session. It's a group therapy session held by Abomination, Emil Blonsky, and at the end they convinced Jennifer to delete his contact information and to let go her feelings towards him, which and then like the final scene of this entire episode, this guy who she met, this guy Miller, I forgot his first name, but Josh, he goes on a date with Josh from the wedding episode, and it's revealed that 3 days earlier, Josh cloned Walter's phone, copied some details, and stole a sample of her blood on behalf of intelligentsia and this individual known as Hulk King. But yeah, and it was something that we all suspected from the very first episode, like not the very first episode, excuse me, from the very first like scene from this episode. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, and a lot of people were having after watching the the wedding episode. A lot of people, including myself, were not trusting this guy, Josh. He seems like a good guy, but untrustworthy, but it's obvious. It's pretty obvious that he's not. And then you got episode 8, titled Whip It and Whip It, Whip It and Whip It. And this is the episode where everyone wanted to see, and this is the episode where everyone was so excited. It's the best episode. It's one of the best episodes of this entire show. Again, that's not saying much. It's like the episode opens with the character Leapfrog, and then Matt Murdock, and then Matt Murdock himself, Daredevil, ladies and gentlemen, appears in the 8th episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and people were like people on YouTube, on the internet, they were like so scared. Oh my God, Disney, the MCU is gonna ruin Daredevil. He's gonna be making so much jokes, and they're gonna blah, 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 so much complaining. And let me tell you something. I felt like the humor worked. I felt like the walk of shame might have been a little bit too far. I felt like the walk of shame might have been a step too far. Um, but but the rest of it I thought like worked. You can tell Charlie Cox's Daredevil, Tatiana Maslany's She-Hulk has so much chemistry with each other. You can feel the spark between them. And what do you know? Speaking of sparks, they hooked up at the end. They slept together. She-Hulk and Daredevil. I mean, I don't know if it happened in the comics, but I guess it makes sense because they're both lawyers, so why not? And they're both superheroes too, so why not? They have two things in common. They're superheroes and they're lawyers too. But I loved it. I loved the episode. And I do plan on watching that episode again. But yeah. And then the final episode. The finale, ladies and gentlemen. This entire show. By the way, I didn't mention this at all. I don't know why I didn't mention this, but let me get into it. Let me get into it before I talk about the finale. This entire show, I didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, I did not know She-Hulk can break the fourth wall. I didn't know that because like, I didn't know, she can break the fourth wall, which was like so crazy because like the reason I didn't know is because like I don't read She-Hulk comic books. It's because I didn't read the She-Hulk comic books, but I've watched so many cartoons with She-Hulk in them, and none of them, and she didn't break the fourth wall in any of them. I don't know if it's because they're not her show and they're like, someone else's show, but like she didn't break the fourth wall in either of those cartoons or like any video games, anything that she's in. So this was a huge surprise to me when I heard that she's going to be breaking the fourth wall in this show. Which, by the way, I thought added a lot of humor to it. And I loved her I loved her breaking the fourth wall and talking to us, the audience. But it's nowhere as near as Deadpool. Deadpool is the king of breaking the fourth wall. He does a great job. Only him, yeah, he's the only one. But other than that, like the finale, holy shit, I was laughing so much. I was smiling, I was grinning, I was laughing my ass off throughout this entire finale. And like, obvious, and then like, okay, so in the back of so we're gonna backtrack a little bit. So all the way back in episode 4, I think it was the fourth episode. It was the episode where She-Hulk went on to She-Hulk. She created like she had like a dating app, and she went on several dates with different guys. One of them is the main antagonist of the show, and I can't believe, and I was shaking my head at how stupid the revelation was. It was Todd, or what is his name? Todd, like Todd, Tim, whatever. The Phillips. I know his last name is Phillips or Phelps, something like that. But anyway, you guys know that it's the slimy guy. Like I thought we were going to see him in only one episode, which was that dating montage episode. It was like when he was on a date with all those other. She was on the date with all the other guys, but like, I thought we were gonna see him once, but then he kept popping up over and over and over again, and I'm like, why are we seeing so much of him? Like, he's so icky and slimy, and of course he's he's the Hulk King, and of course he's the one who created Intelligentsia, this website, this hate website. And he injected himself with a blood, and he transforms into a Hulk. And let me tell you, the CGI on the Hulk King, on Phelps, I'm gonna call him Todd. On Todd, I thought the CGI and the visual effects were ass. When it came to him, when he transformed into a Hulk, I thought the visual effects was just ass juice. But yeah, it was horrible. The visual effects were just awful. But anyway, like the finale episode, she fucking Jennifer Walters breaks the fourth wall, and she fucking confronted the show writers in Marvel Studios assembled. She meets Kevin, not Feige, an artificial intelligence named Kevin, who is based on Kevin Feige. Oh my, I know a lot of people wanted to see Kevin Feige in here, who claims to be in charge of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's storylines and decisions, and she persuades it to rewrite the finale, and it reluctantly agrees. I and then she returns to her own show. Blonsky, Abomination and Todd are arrested. And then Matt Murdock. Matt Murdock appears in the finale. He has dinner with the family. Every woman is hitting. Every woman is attracted and hitting on Daredevil. I mean, I don't blame those ladies. He's a very handsome man. Daredevil, Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox himself is a very handsome man himself. So I don't blame them. And then we had a very huge reveal. Bruce Banner shows up at the family dinner or lunch, whatever. And he's like, I want you to meet someone. And then he reveals his fucking Scar. His son, Scar. He turns, and it's like I wanted to see that in a movie or something, like World War. Like people were saying, World War Hulk. Hulk goes to the planet, and like he's gonna wreck some shit up. But he's gonna smash some shit up because he's a Hulk. I wanted to see that. We all wanted to see Hulk on Sakaar, and meeting his son. I feel like there's a whole story, there's a whole movie right there. It could take place in between these episodes, like whatever. But I know, Universal owns the rights to a standalone Hulk movie, so I don't think that's ever gonna happen. And I heard I heard the relationship between Marvel Studios / Disney and Universal are not on the best of terms, so I'm not so sure about a solo Hulk movie as much as we all wanted it to see. But yeah. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. Like the finale was just so amazing. I know it can turn off a lot of people off because, like, she's like, this is my show. That's the thing. This episode, the title of it is "Whose Show Is This?" and it's supposed to be about Jennifer Walters. And then she's confronting all the writers, and she's like, "You're gonna seriously, the villain injects themselves, him or herself, in this case him, with a blood from the hero, and they're gonna turn it like it's been done before. Like she even calls it out. Like it's been done before, and like so many like superhero movies and shows, like it's been done before. It's not nothing. It's not original. It's not new. We've seen it before. And then like Titania and Bruce appear out of nowhere, like in the fight. Like what the fuck? And then like she's like, stop. This is too much plot. Too much shit is going on. Stop this show. And then she just breaks the fourth wall. And then I just loved it. I loved it. For me, it worked, but I can understand if it didn't work for you. I know it can turn off. All of us were expecting like a huge, giant finale fight scene. Something. Shit's gonna go down. No, it doesn't. Not really. No, it doesn't. It's just her breaking the fourth wall and getting rid of all these storylines that makes no sense, and then having everything get back to normal. She rewrites the story as rewrites the finale, as I said. But yeah, I mean, this whole show, okay, like the villain wasn't even a great villain, and also the wrecking crew. Getting back to the wrecking crew, they didn't even have their costumes, by the way. Are they really? Is Marvel Studios really that cheap? Are they turning into fucking Netflix? Fucking Marvel Netflix? You remember how cheap those, like, the costumes at, like, Daredevil is the only person wearing an actual costume. Iron Fist almost had a costume, had somewhat of a costume in the season 2 finale, in the season 2 in the season 2 uh show, in the season 2 of the show. Luke Cage had somewhat, he had like a little Easter egg, when he escaped prison. But it's like, just give us the costumes. You're not cheap. You're not Netflix. You have the money in the world. Disney. You have all the money in the world. Spend some money and actually give them their fucking costumes or something. They're just like construction workers. They don't feel like the wrecking crew. They call themselves the wrecking crew, but they're not. I didn't like what they did with the wrecking crew. So yeah, like I said, this is the first. This is the first show that I actually did not like. I hated this show. I only liked going over this. Let's go. All right, let's go through it. So, episode 4, episode 8, and episode 9. So, this entire show has, our season, I don't know if it's going to get renewed, but this entire show has 9 episodes. 9 episodes. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone. It only had 9 episodes. And for me, I only loved, not like, I loved only 3 episodes. The 4th episode with Madison and Wong and Madison. The 8th episode, obviously the 8th episode with Daredevil. And I loved the finale and how how She-Hulk broke the 4th wall. And she was like, calling out, the stereotypical cliche, like, storylines. The villain, stealing, the blood and then turning themselves into, like, turning themselves, giving them superpowers or something like that. Yeah, I loved that. That's it. Only 3 episodes I loved. Everything else was either decent or was either, okay, or I just absolutely hated it. I like the fucking wedding episode and the trademark, when she got her name trademarked. That episode, which was episode 5, and then like Titania was like trademarking her name using for beauty products. I didn't care about that. I don't care about that shit, okay? I don't care. Ah. I did like I fucking loved, speaking of the finale, which I loved, which I absolutely loved, was the opening of the finale. It was such a callback. It gave me so much nostalgia and such a callback to the, original classic, oh my god, Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk show with Bill Bixby. It gave me such vibes, like the narration, like even like the way it was shot, and the way, like the lighting and everything, the rain. Oh my god, it was so exact. It was 100% right there on the mark, which is another reason why I loved the finale. But that's it. 3 episodes. I would rather watch Ms. Marvel over She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I would rather watch Hawkeye over She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Those are the other 2 shows. By the way, those 2 shows that I just mentioned. I also felt disappointed, and I also didn't like. But I would rather watch those shows over She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I don't know what to say. I'm just like, if they keep doing this. I don't know where. I don't know if anyone's gonna pay attention to these shows. And also, yeah, like the visual effects, like the teaser trailer, the visual effects are not really great when it came to the way She-Hulk looked. But yeah. But anyway, enough about me. I want to know what you thought about She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Did you hate it like I did? Like, or did you think like, it wasn't that bad or whatever? Let me know about it in the comment section below. Go ahead, spoil the shit out of the show. I don't care. Cause I did. So yeah, let me know about it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for taking the time to listening to my review. I really appreciate it. And please leave, please, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see all of you lovely people really soon.